Hey everyone, so I just got the DJI Osmo in the mail. I already did some test footage. I'm going to show that to you in a minute. But I also bought the Z Axis Gimbal arm, which is made by DJI as well. So I'm really liking the heavy-duty case that comes with it. It comes packed in, form-fitting, small, easy to carry. And there you have the Osmo itself. Nice little strap to keep it from just jostling around. Very well machine tooled. The casing is form-fitting. So I'm just going to pull this out. So inside is the actual the handle and the camera attached. This is the lower end camera. I think it's the X3. There's an X5. But all right, so let's just get into this then. There we have the camera. This is the attachment for the cell phone, which screws into here via this little device here. You just rotate that. And these, which come packed like that, these just fold out. Fold them at the angle that you want. And your cell phone will go in here. You stretch it out so that your cell phone can fit in there. However, since I have the gimbal, I'm going to unattach this and show you how to attach the gimbal. So you see this ring right here. Right here is the lock icon, and right here is the unlock icon. So what you do is just rotate it, and this pulls right off. Now there's some contacts under here, so I'm assuming it's not a good thing if those get dirty. Same thing as in here. So I'm just going to put that back there. And then we're going to move over to the Z Axis. Let's pull these caps off here. Takes that off. This one is a little trickier. And I also recommend don't lose these caps because you don't want to have these contacts. I'm assuming you don't want those exposed any more than they need to be as well. If you notice, and this is the same with the bottom of the camera head, the camera piece itself as well, there are 3 protrusions. 1, 2, 3. One is wider, and these 2 are smaller. And if you look on the head, you'll see in the ring, there's a wider recession and 2 smaller recessions. And again, this is the same principle as with the camera head. So what you want to do is just line those up. Let's see. There we go. And then they're lined up. I'm going to rotate this from the unlocked position, hopefully you can see that, to the locked position. Okay, so that's sturdy there. Now, obviously, as opposed to attaching the camera head to the handle, we're going to attach it up here. And the same thing applies. Wider recession, 2 smaller recessions. Wide protrusion, 2 smaller protrusions. So I'm going to attach that like this. And then once it's seated in there, we're going to rotate from the unlocked position to locked. You can see the lock there. So the lines up there are lined up with the locked icon, which means it is now locked. Now, as you see, it has a little bounce to it, but that's what we want. And even though it bounces like that, on my test run, I did not see any of that. Well, what you want to do is on top here, there's a tension knob. and you want to rotate that until you get the arm either straight or a little bit more up than straight. So if you look here, there's a minus and a plus on the tension knob. So obviously, if I turn this way towards the plus sign, there's more tension. If I over crank it, let's see, it's just gonna go straight up. That's no good. If I go too far to the left to the minus, as you can see, straight down. That's no good. What you want to do is you want to get tension where this thing floats without making contact with the housing. See, these are the extreme, this is making contact, and you'll see that bump. So you want to, and it took a little bit for me to get this, but you want to find a sweet spot. Almost. Yeah, somewhere right in there. So now, as I'm moving around, the Z axis absorbs the shock. And even though it's bouncing, I just don't want it to bounce so that it touches, that it hits the apex, or is the apex or the highest point where boom, where it locks. You don't want it to make contact. You want it to float in the middle. When you are trying to adjust the tension so that you get this kind of sweet spot of bounce in it, you should put it on a flat surface, put it upright on a flat surface, and adjust the tension with it sitting upright on the flat surface. Okay. So yeah, somewhere in there. And I believe that's optimum. Right, maybe a little less. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a little, I'm sure if I do this a few more times, I'll be able to find that spot a lot easier. But there you go. Now, since I'm being kind of rough with it now, it's not gonna stay in that sweet spot. But anyway, there's a you want to power it on with this little button right here. You hold that down. I've got the flashing green light. Then what I want to do, now it went from flashing to solid. That means it's ready to be paired, I believe. So now to activate the to engage the camera, let's say, first thing I want to do is there's a lock right here. There's three locking mechanisms. There's this one right here for the base. Push that up, unlocked. Now it's gonna swivel. Then we want to unlock the base of the camera. Sorry, you couldn't see it there. The base of the camera right here. You can see lock and unlock. So I'm going to rotate it to the right, following that arrow for the unlock. Rotate to the right. Now it's unlocked. Camera's going to swivel. And then I want the arm to be unlocked. As you can see, there's a lock and an unlock. So boom. Now the camera is ready to go. The next thing I want to do is attach this, I'm going to call it a restraining bolt. There's some sort of title for it. I don't know what it's called. But I want to just flip it down and then screw it into the same receptacle where I screwed the cell phone holder. And that's pretty simple. Just screw it in. I think this acts as both like a safety backup for the arm, because it screws right into the handle, as you can see there. Screws right here. Then you have these two receptacles that you can screw the cell phone holder in. You've got one for the cell phone holder and one for any additional equipment that they may release for this device, I suppose. So just like at the beginning when I screwed this into this hole, I'm going to screw it into, I can have my choice. I'm going to screw it into the one furthest away from me just so I have more range of vision. There we go. Now I'm going to attach my cell phone. As I said before, these come like that. All you do is flip them out, rotate these like so, then take your cell phone, put them into the holders, and then stretch it out until you get enough clearance to let it lock in. And that's just friction holding it in. Friction, and then it's supported with these two holders. I should warn you that I'm the kind of guy that once I get a new toy and I rip open the box like it's Christmas morning, I'm not one to go through all the instructions line by line. I just want to try to put it together, figure out how to put it together, and get to playing with it as quickly as possible. So I don't know if I put this together in the proper order as DJI would want you to, but it's working for me so far. Next thing you want to do is, once you get your phone attached, or you could do this before you attach your phone, is you want to download the DJI Go app. I'm assuming DJI made that app cross-platform for iPhone or for Android, whatever you use. Once you turn on the handle, once you turn on the device, it'll generate a Wi-Fi network, I guess is the term. You want to put your phone onto that network. Then you want to go to the DJI app. The DJI Go app is multifunctional for a lot of different DJI devices. So you got to slide across, find the Osmo, and register, set up. It's not the most intuitive process. It's a little painful, I found, but you'll figure it out. So I'm launching the DJI Go app. I've already gone through the whole process, so it just naturally went right to the camera function for me. I can go back home, and you'll see, I've got the Osmo. Obviously, that's the Osmo. I can tap the camera, and I don't want to do the tutorial. Maybe one day, but not now. So yeah, now I've got the camera working, and as you can see, hopefully, you can choose to operate the functions of the Osmo either on the screen or on the hardware itself. Now, I find that looking at this image, because I'm shooting my office, which is very cluttered, and because it's cluttered, I find it not that easy to make out the icons on the screen. They're kind of hidden in the image itself. So I choose to use at least for the basic functions, I choose to use the hardware. So let me just run through some of this for you. So this button here, that is what, joystick, I guess, a toggle. And it's what's going to make the camera tilt up, down, left, and right. So obviously if I tilt up, the camera's going to tilt up, down, camera goes down, left, and right. Cool. All right. So, and obviously whenever you see a red button on a camera, that typically means record. So yeah, here's your record button right here on the iPhone or your smartphone. Obviously that huge red button right there would be record. This button here allows you to take photographs. I'm going to assume that this button corresponds with this picture of the camera icon here, where you can take photographs. I don't have an SD card in right now, but yeah, I'm assuming that the camera, you can tap that and take stills as well. So here we have the video camera, which will start recording. I don't have a card in. We have auto and slow motion. I assume that means frame rate, refers to frame rate. The red button obviously is record. Here was something that was cool. I can adjust the ISO. Here it looks like it goes up to 3200. I'm gonna put it down to 400 for whatever reason. You can adjust the shutter, which goes from 30 to 8,000. I'm gonna put it back at 60, I guess. And you have a EV range here, and over here you have controls for the gimbal. You can recenter it. I assume that takes it back to center. Looks that way. Selfie mode. So I told you before that you have to tap the trigger 3 times. This is a way of doing it on the screen as opposed to using the trigger. Orientation lock. I'm not sure what that does. I'm assuming that means if you lock it, it won't rotate, or I'm not really sure. And set gimbal attitude. I can only assume that means that you're determining how much it pitches or sways, whether it's fast or slow or drastic. I'm not really sure. Then we have settings. I'm not sure what those do. I'm not ready to play with those just yet. Well, let's tap on general. Yeah, looks like you can clean up the video cache on the card and all that kind of good stuff. We don't care about that right now. So just in general, there's a wide range of controls that you can use that are lacking on the handle. If you want to go that deep into it, I could see myself adjusting the ISO, the shutter, things of that nature. But I'm probably going to stay on this side right here because it's just easy to do it from here as opposed to then, you know, using the screen and having to look for these small icons. Or these are the things that I would set up in advance before I start shooting, most likely. It also it shoots 4K, or, you know, what is it, 3180 by 2160, 3820 by 2160, whatever it is. So right now I'm holding it. I'm going to hold it so that you can see it better, so this thing's not going to cooperate. See, yeah, see, it's not bouncing now because I'm not holding it properly. But if you don't want to hold this thing at a 90-degree angle, like that would be like that. And so if you don't want to hold it straight so that you get this little S thing happening here, you can push this button here, and then you can swivel the handle. So now you got like a Star Trek phaser thing happening. You can, which, you know, it's not bad. You know, then you can kind of maybe even hold it lower down around your waist or your thigh area if you want to get a lower angle shot. You can also, if you wanted to, you can undersling this thing manually by just holding it like that. And then you can get a really low angle shot. But you kind of defeat the purpose of the Z axis because it's not going to stabilize. It's not going to, gravity is pushing it down. It's not going to rock for you, if that's the right term. But hey, you know, I could see using this like that. There's one last feature I think a lot of you will be happy to see on this. If you notice on the front here, there's like a little trigger. I'm sure it has a lot of modes, but the one mode that I'll probably be using it most, let me line the camera up. If you hit that trigger 3 times, it goes into selfie mode. So now, as you see on the screen, I'm shooting myself. Hit it 3 times again, goes back into regular shooting mode. I'm sure this thing can do a lot more. For example, I see a hole right here. I don't know if that's a headphone jack or not, because it does record sound. From what I hear, you know, you don't want to use that as primary sound. What you're going to get off is just a camera mic, you know. One of the drawbacks of this device is the battery. Battery life sucks on this thing. As you can see, just through this demonstration, I had a fully charged battery, and now it's flashing red to indicate that the battery is low, or at 50%. Actually, I take that back. The screen says that I am at 7%. Wow. So that's why I bought a spare battery, a second battery, and I think that costs around $35. So the batteries aren't wallet busters. They're pretty reasonable. Just the bottom of the handles where the battery compartment is bumps up. There's a little red thing there. You push it down and use the little piece of paper strip to pull the battery out. So I'm going to insert the new battery in, just making sure that the contacts match the position of the leads in the handle. I don't know if those are the right terms or not. They sound right. So I'm going to pop this in, close it, lock it. Let's see, I think this battery was charged. Okay, we're back in business. Because of the short battery life, there's also a sleep mode that you can put the device in. As you can see here, I have a solid green light indicating that all is ready to go. But if I just quickly flick down on the toggle here on the on-off switch, just flick it down, it goes into sleep mode, and you can see that the green light is kind of flashing with a little kind of like pulsing, telling you that it's asleep. Just to wake it up, obviously, just flick that down really quick. And there you go. You should only have to do it one time. I just wasn't quick enough on the flick, I guess. So there you have it. That's the DJI Osmo. I swear up until 2 weeks ago, I had no idea this thing even existed. But I had to have one. And I went ahead and purchased, additionally, the Z Axis Gimbal. I think I spent maybe $130 plus tax on the gimbal arm. I think I bought it at Adorama. You can get it, I imagine, on Amazon, anywhere, eBay even. And I got the DJI, the handle, and the camera, and the case for around $480, $500 with tax. And I got that off of eBay. So you can find some good deals. I think they retail around $549. I'm not sure if that's the X5. And maybe the X3, which is what I have, is cheaper. I think it's called the X3. It's the lower end camera. But you know, I'm in it for like $700, and I have a device that, for my level of clients, I think it may cause me to sell my 5 Pro gimbal. So yeah, let me know what you think. I want to go out and do some test runs with it. I'll put the footage up, and you can check it out for yourself. Thanks for listening.